Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Is it visible, the PPT?
Your voice is not.
Coming properly. Now? Hello?
No, it's very feeble, ma'am.
Okay, I'll try to switch off the fan. Right. What about now?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, good. So how are you doing?
Yeah, good, ma'am. Finally finished CA1.
Yeah. Not yet corrected. Need to do the correction.
Okay.
So I received all the scripts, but not yet corrected.
Okay.
Okay, right. So what we discussed in our previous class? we talked about strings, I think so, right?
Yes. 8th chapter.
Yeah. 8th chapter, we talked about strings.
Correct.
Yeah, right. Now we are going to see module 9. So which explains about inheritance, one of the object-oriented programming concepts, right? Let me
Yeah.
know what are the object-oriented programming concepts?
Java, Python.
No. I'm not asking about languages.
Hmm.
I'm asking about object-oriented programming concepts. Inheritance, polymorphism,
Yeah.
abstraction, encapsulation,
Mhm.
right? All these four are the object-oriented programming concepts, right?
Correct.
Yeah, one of those object-oriented programming concepts is inheritance. Now we are going to explain about inheritance. Here we are going to see what is inheritance, what are the different types of inheritance, how we can achieve that object-oriented programming concept inheritance in Java. And here, while we are talking about the inheritance, we go with one keyword, which is nothing but super. What about that super keyword? And not only that one, we are going to discuss about method overriding. We already discussed about overloading in our previous
Correct.
classes.
Correct.
Constructor overloading and method overloading. Those two we discussed. Now we are going to see overriding, method overriding, and also we are going to discuss about abstract classes. These are the main topics that we are going to cover in today's session, right? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
first we are going to see inheritance. Now, what is meant by inheritance? Inheritance means the mechanism of deriving a new class from an old class is to be called as inheritance. So how can I say simply? It means how you are achieving the properties of your parents in the same way a new class, which was, here I am taking, this is a new class here. This is my new class. This new class can achieve the properties from old class, right? So the process of achieving properties from old class to a new class is to be called as inheritance. That property is to be called as inheritance. The class which is inherited is called as superclass. This is to be called as superclass or base class, or it is also to be called as parent class. The class which does inheriting is to be called as subclass or derived class, or it can also be called as child class. So in our regular life, we will see all these things. How child achieves some properties from parents. Is it or not? So
Yes, correct.
some features are coming from mother, some features are coming from father, like that. So how a child acquires the properties from parents, here a class acquires properties from another old class. That old class is to be called as parent class. This new class is to be called as child class. Right. So here you can see the class that is inherited is to be called as superclass or base class or parent class. The class that does inheriting is to be called as subclass or derived class or child class. Right. Now here inheritance allows the subclasses to inherit all the variables and methods of their parent classes. So whatever the methods that are present in a parent class, suppose this is my parent class, so which I am taking it as human. Let us say my parent class is human, which contains some characteristics, right? What is the gender of that human? What is the color of that human? Right? Like that, some properties are there and what is the job, what about the job roles of that particular person. So these are to be called as variables and this is to be called as method. Suppose for example, here I am saying one subclass, let us say some person take Ramu, right? Ramu is having this property, gender, and he is having his own color for his skin, and job, he is having his own job, right? So whatever the properties that the parent is having and whatever the methods that the parent is having, all the properties and methods can be acquired by the subclass, and some new properties and new methods may be there for the subclass. So in addition to the properties and methods which are acquired from the parent, it may have its own variables and its own methods, right? These cannot be accessed by the parent, but parent variables and methods can be accessed by the child. So we know that one. Do your parent gets your features? No.
No.
You can get some features from your parent, but your parent doesn't get any features from you, right? So in the same way, all the variables and methods that the parent is having, all those can be accessed by the child, but the child may have its own properties and methods, right? Next, here, why we are going for inheritance? Right. Now, inheritance always represents is a relationship between parent and child. Right. That is, parrot is a bird. Parrot is a bird. So there is a relationship between this parrot and bird. Right. And code reusability. So the biggest advantage of our inheritance is code reusability is there. And here for getting inheritance in our Java, so how we can achieve inheritance in our Java? For achieving inheritance in our Java, we use a keyword called extends. Here we use a keyword called extends, right? Now, here we can see what are the different types of inheritances that we have. Now, we have single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. All these are the different types of inheritances that we have, right? Now, here coming to all these inheritances, single, multi-level, and hierarchical inheritance and hybrid inheritance can be obtained by using just simply classes. By using just simply by the description of classes, we can achieve these all types of inheritances. But multiple inheritance, which cannot be achieved from the classes. So it can be achieved by using interfaces, which can be achieved by using interfaces. Right. Now, what about interfaces and all these things we will see in our further sessions, right? Now we are going to see these 4 types of inheritances: single, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid inheritances. Right. Now, first one, single inheritance. If there is a single parent and a single child, then it is to be called as simply saying, then it is to be called as single inheritance. That is, in single inheritance, one class inherits the properties of other class, right? It enables a derived class to inherit the properties and behavior from a single parent class. Always, parent should also be a single and child should also be a single, right? One class extends simply other class. That is to be called as single inheritance. Now, for getting inheritance, what the keyword that I can use? We can use the keyword extends, right? Now, how these extends can be used to achieve inheritance in Java in writing a program that we will see, right? So here you can see a simple program which gives single inheritance. So here you can see I defined a class named superclass. I defined a class named superclass, and it is having a method 1. It is having a method 1. Right. In this method, just we print a statement superclass method. Right. Now this method is closed and this class is closed. Now this is entirely parent class. So here, what is this one? This is parent class. Right. Now I want to write a child class for this superclass. Now here I am defining a class called as subclass. Now here I used the keyword extends. Here I used the keyword extends. After this extends, we need to write the name of the parent class. Here the name of my parent class is superclass. So I written this class. Now this contains its own method 2. Now subclass method. Here I am printing a statement subclass method. I close its method. I closed its class, this class as well. Now here for writing the main method, I have taken one more class which is nothing but single inheritance class, single inheritance. Now here in this method I have written the main method. In this class I have written the main method. Now I am creating object for the subclass. Now I have created an object for the subclass. Now I am trying to access superclass method as well as subclass method, both from the object of subclass only. Here you can observe that I didn't create object for superclass. I created object for subclass only. With this subclass, I am going to access method 1, which is the method of superclass. I am going to access method 2, which is the method of subclass. Right. Now, if I run this program, I get this output. Now, what you could understand from this means, so with the object of subclass, I am accessing superclass method means it is acquiring the properties from superclass. The subclass is acquiring the properties from superclass. Right? Do you understand this one? Now I want to show you execution of this one by using execution compiler, by using online compiler. I want to show you the execution of this one. Now here, let us see, I'm going to write another program for this one. Here I am writing simply class A, right? Now here I am going to write a method called method 1, a method named method 1, right? Now here in this method, I'm going to write a statement which is nothing but just one simple print statement I am writing. So here, what that print statement contains, it prints a statement. It is nothing but superclass A method. Right, that I want to print. Now I closed this class as well. Now I want to write another class. Let us see. Here I am writing another class which is nothing but B. Here I want to write method 2, which is nothing but subclass method, right? Now here I am going to write one more class for writing the main method, right? So here I am writing it as main class. Now here I am writing main method public. So static void main. So in this we need to write string args. Right? This is my main method. Now here what I want to do, I want to create object for subclass is equal to new. Now here I created object for subclass. Now I want to access this subclass this superclass method as well as subclass method by using this particular object. Now here I am trying to access method 1 and also I am trying to access method 2 as well. Right. Now here I have written this program. Now we just try to execute this program. What happens? Let us see. Now here you can see an error. B dot method 1, if I called method 1, at the method 1 we are getting an error. What is means variable B of type B. That is, this is of type this class. This cannot access method 1. Like that it is saying. Right. Now, so why it is showing that error means here A is a separate class, B is a separate class. B is not child of A. I didn't use that extends keyword. I didn't create the subclass. Now I am creating the subclass. Right. So here I am writing just simply extends A. Now see what happens. If I run the program, what happens? Let us see. Now here main method not found in class A. Please define main method as. Okay, right. Now here we need to write the main method class in the beginning, and after that we will write this one. Now, right, see. Now here what the output that we get? Superclass A method, superclass B method. Earlier, if we not write this one, we are unable to access this method. Right. So how this can be accessed? By creating an object to this class, then only we can access. Right. That also I'll show. So I'm removing this one. Now, if I want to access method 1, now how I can access method 1? A dot. Now here I need to create an object for class A, right? Is equal to new A. Now here I created an object for class A, right? With this object, if I want to try to access method 1, what happens? Let us see. Now A dot method 1 I written. Now let us see what happens. Now both the methods are executed, right? Now I called method 1, which is present in class A with its object. I called method 2, which is present in class B with its object, right? In this case, no problem there, right? Now when I try to access method 1 of class A, what happens? It shows an error, right? Since this is not child of A for accessing. Now, if I made it as child of A, then what happens? It can access both the methods. Method 1 can be accessed, method 2 can also be accessed, right? So I hope that you understand how your child class is accessing the method of parent class, right? So I hope that you understand. Next, we are going to see the next type of inheritance, right? Now, here you can see multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. Now, what is meant by this multi-level inheritance? When a class is derived from a class which is also derived from another class. Now, I have subclass 2, which is derived from subclass 1. This also derived from this superclass, right? So this is a grandparent, parent, child, right? Multi-level inheritance, multi-level. Like that, number of levels I can write. So I can write, here I represented only 3 levels. I can write 4 levels, 5 levels, 6 levels, like that. Any levels I can write. Now you can see that superclass is having a method X. Subclass here, since this is a subclass of this one, it can access method X. It may have its own method Y, right? Now subclass 2 is child of this one. So for subclass 2, this becomes the grandparent. So that's why this can access this property as well as this property, and it may have its own properties, right? So here this represents a multi-level inheritance, a class having more than one parent class at different levels, that is to be called as multi-level inheritance. Now we will see an example program for this multi-level inheritance. Now here you can see the program. So we have written class A, which contains a method X. Now here I have print a statement superclass A. Now I have written another class B that extends A. This is subclass of A, which contains a method Y. Now here I have written another class C that extends B, right, which contains a method Z. Now here I have taken a multi-level inheritance class, and here I want to write a main method. Now here I am creating object for C. Object C is equal to new C. Now I am trying to access all the three methods by using object of C. That is, C can acquire the properties of A as well as B. Since C is a child of B, B is a child of A. Right. This type of inheritance is to be called as multi-level inheritance. Right. Now, hierarchical inheritance. What is meant by hierarchical inheritance? When a class have more than one child class, that is, it may have two or more subclasses, then it is to be called as hierarchical inheritance. So here you can see class A is having two childs, class B and class C, like siblings. Class B and class C are siblings, right? Now, class A is having method A. Class A, B, since it is the child of class A, class B can access method A and it may have its own method B. And since class C is also child of class A, it can access method A as well as it may have its own method C. But class C cannot access the method B. Class C cannot access the method of class B, right? But if it is the multi-level inheritance, that is possible. But here it is not multi-level inheritance, it is hierarchical inheritance. So these two childs can access the properties from parent only. These two cannot share any properties. These two siblings cannot share any properties. Right. Now we are going to see an example for hierarchical inheritance. So here you can see that this is class A, which contains method X, class B, subclass of A, and class C, again subclass of A. Now here hierarchical inheritance I am taking. Now here I created an object for B class as well as C class. Now here I am trying to access the methods X, Y, X, Z. That is the method X, which is the characteristic of, which is a property of class A, that can be accessed by B class as well as that can be accessed by C class. And they can access their own methods, right? This is to be called as entirely hierarchical inheritance, right? Next, coming to next one, multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance means it refers to the process where one class tries to extend more than one parent class. That is, here A is a parent class, B is a parent class, C is to extend the properties from A as well as B. This can be done or this can be implemented using interfaces only. We cannot directly use this one. Since what I need to write the syntax here. So for extending both class C, I need to write extends A. Here, this up to this, it is right. Right. Or otherwise I can write class C extends B, I can write. But I cannot write like this. Class C extends A comma B. Like that I cannot write. So it will not understand. The Java will not understand this one. Right. So that's why I cannot do multiple inheritance using just simply classes in case of Java. That can be done by using interfaces. So multiple inheritance can be achieved using interfaces only, right? Next, hybrid inheritance. Hybrid inheritance is nothing but the combination of one or more types of inheritances. Now here you can see. So if we consider up to this, this is to be called as single inheritance. This is to be called as single inheritance, right? Now, if you see this one, what you can say, this is to be called as multi-level inheritance. Here it is to be called as multi-level inheritance. Now, if you see this one, what is this? Here, if you observe this one, this is to be called as hierarchical inheritance. This is to be called as hierarchical inheritance. Now, if you observe this one, which is to be called as multiple, which is to be called as multiple inheritance, right? So here, all 4 levels of inheritances are present in this one diagram. Right. So it is the combination of one or more types of inheritances. So it is to be called as hybrid inheritance. It is to be called as hybrid inheritance, right? Now, what are the different types of inheritances that we have? 1, single inheritance. 2, multi-level inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. Next, multiple inheritance. Next, finally, hybrid inheritance. These 5 are the different types of inheritances that we have. Right. Now, here this represents an example for the hybrid inheritance. If you see and if you try to understand this one, you can understand how hybrid inheritance works. Next, we are going to see the next one, super keyword. What is the purpose of using that super keyword? And how it can be used, that we are going to explain. Now here, super keyword in Java is a reference variable which is used to refer the immediate parent class. Whatever the immediate parent class is present for referring the variables or methods of super class. So that immediate parent is nothing but the super class. For accessing those variables and methods, we can use this super keyword, right? Now here you can see, whenever you have created a class named bike, right? Now here, I can access super, by using this super keyword, I can access its constructor, bike constructor, right? So here you can see those examples all clearly. Now, how uses of super keyword. Super can be used to refer immediate parent class. Super can be used to invoke immediate parent class method. Super can be used to invoke immediate parent class constructor. So it can be used to refer immediate parent class variable, to invoke immediate parent class method, to invoke immediate parent class constructor. So these 3 are the main purposes of super keyword. Now here I am going to show you an example for this. Super is used to refer immediate parent class variable. How this can be used? Let us see. Class animal, which contains a variable named color, which is initialized with white. Right. Now here I am going to write another class, dog extends animal. This dog extends animal. Now, string, here it is having its own color, which is represented as black. Now, here I am writing a method called print color in the subclass dog. Now, this print color method contains two statements here. First statement is a print statement which prints the color of this particular class. The second statement also prints the color, but it want to print the color of its superclass. Here both are having same name. Both are having same name. Now, if I write simply color, it takes the color variable from this class. So, how to write this color? How to access this color means we can use the keyword super dot color, right? And here this is my main method class, and this is an object for my subject, that is my subclass. Now I call the print method with my subclass, right, which prints both the statements black and white, right? So this is how we can use super with a variable, right? Next one, super can be used to invoke parent class method. It can also be used to not only to access the variables of parent class, it can also be used to invoke parent class method, right? Now here I am showing you an example for that. So see the example. I have written class animal, which contains a method eat. Now here it contains a statement eating. Now here I am writing a class dog that extends animal. So here eat method I am writing, same method, whatever the method this animal contains, same method I am writing. Since this extends animal, I can write this. And so now here I am printing a statement. Just simply I am printing a statement, right? Now here I am writing a method bark. Now here it is barking. Here I have written another method bark. Now in this method, I want to access the method of its superclass. Right, here the superclass method is called and bark method is also called. Right, now here you can see this is a class for main method. We created an object for dog class and we called work method. Whenever we called work method, this method, we that is here, since I written superclass dot super dot eat. So here this method can be accessed and bark. So whatever the bark method which is present here, that can be accessed, right? So it prints these two statements, right? So I hope that you understand how a super keyword can be used with the method. Next one, super keyword to use to invoke parent class constructor, right? Now here you can write class animal. Animal is the constructor of this class. And here just one statement is there in that constructor, which prints a statement. Next, dog that extends animal. Here I have written a constructor for the dog. In this constructor, I am accessing superclass constructor. Here my superclass is animal. Its constructor is animal. It can be accessed. Now super is accessed. That is, super accesses the constructor of its parent class. Right. Now, what we discussed till now, what is meant by inheritance? Inheritance is nothing but acquiring the properties of parent class to a child class. And 5 types of inheritances that we explained: single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Now we see super keyword. Super keyword can be used for mainly 3 purposes. The first purpose is to access the variables of superclass. Second purpose is to access the methods. So for accessing the methods of superclass, I can use super keyword, and for accessing the constructors of superclass, we can use this super keyword, right? Now, next we are going to see method overriding. What is meant by method overriding? So, in our previous classes, we discussed about method overloading. There we discussed about method overloading, right? What is meant by this method overloading? What is meant by this method overloading? A class is having, suppose let us say if I am taking class A, if it is having two or more methods, if it is having two or more methods with the same name, then it is to be called as method overloading. Now, what is meant by method overriding? That is, if parent class is having a method named as method, and the parent class, child class, if it is trying to access the method which is present in A, this cannot be accessed. This cannot be accessed, right? So, this process. So, here, what is overriding? Method overriding is used to provide a specific implementation of a method which is already provided by its superclass. Now, if a subclass provides the specific implementation of the method that have been declared by its parents, it is known as method overriding. And method overriding is also to be called as runtime polymorphism, right? Now, next let us see how method overriding can be implemented. What are the rules? The method must have the same name and the parent class. The method must have the same parameters as in the parent class. And there must be an easy relationship between parent and child classes. Right. These three are the main rules that we need to follow in case of method overriding. Right. Next, we are going to see an example for method overriding. So, see here the example. Here I have written class A, which contains a method add. Here I have written class B, which extends A. That is, A is parent class and B is child class, which contains the same method which is present in A. So here, there is no implementation, much implementation for this method. Here I am doing the implementation. What I am doing that implementation? I am going to add 3 values which are present in that particular class. Right. So this explains method overloading. Here it is having add method. Here it is having add method. Both the methods are overridden. Since it is present in superclass and this is present in subclass, then we can say that it is overridden. Right. Now, method overriding is also to be called as dynamic binding. Method overriding is also called as dynamic binding. So here you can see the differences of overloading and overriding. Method overloading is used to increase the readability of the problem. Overriding is used to provide the specific implementation of the method, but is already provided by its superclass. Next, method overloading is performed within the class. Method overriding occurs in 2 classes. Right. So here you can see method overloading is used to increase readability of the program. Method overriding is used to provide specific implementation of the method which is present in its superclass. In overloading, the 2 methods are present within a class or 2 or more methods. Whatever the methods we are taking, those are present within a class. But in case of this, the method should be present within the superclass and subclasses. That is, there should be a easier relationship between those classes. And in case of method overloading, parameters must be different, right? But in case of overriding, parameters must be same. And overloading is an example for compile time polymorphism. Whereas overriding is an example for runtime polymorphism. Excuse me, 1 minute. Now, here method overloading is an example for compile time polymorphism, whereas overriding is an example for runtime polymorphism. Now, in case of Java, overloading cannot be performed by changing the return type of the method. Return type can be same or different in method overloading, but you must have to change the parameters. In case of this one, return type must be same. Parameters must be same and return type must also be same, right? Now, next one, dynamic method dispatch. What is meant by dynamic method dispatch? Dynamic method dispatch is a mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime, right? That is, when an overridden method is called by a reference, Java determines which version of that method is executed based on the type of object it refers to. So, which object that it refers to, based on the type of object, which method is to be executed when a method is overridden. So, that is to be called as dynamic method dispatch. So, here you can see an example for method overriding. So, here you have the class A, which contains a method add. Here I have class B, which is subclass of A, which contains the same method add. So here it is adding two variables A and B, but this method is adding three variables A, B, C. Right. Now here you can see I created an object for class A, I created an object for class B. I called both the methods. Right. So now parent reference. Here, whatever the parent we are using, that parent reference can be used to hold the child class reference, right? So automatically JVM will take care of that, which method is to be accessed, which method is to be executed. So both are add only. If I call add here, whatever the parent here I have, so to with which parent I called, that method can be accessed, right? So like that, the accessing of methods can be taken place. Next one, abstraction. Now, till now we learned about inheritance. We learned about inheritance, right? Now, one of the object-oriented programming concepts, right? Now, abstraction is another object-oriented programming concepts, right? What is meant by abstraction? Abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing only the functionality, right? Now, suppose if you are taking a car, so there are a lot of details related to the car engine are there, but the car owner no need of knowing all those internal details. Just if he know the driving of car, he can purchase the car and he can use the car. How the engine is built, how it is developed, how the connections are made, all those things, no need of learning, right? So, hiding the implementation details, showing only the functionality is to be called as abstraction. So how the abstraction can be achieved in Java? We have two ways to to achieve abstraction in Java. One is abstract classes and another one is interfaces. By using abstract classes, I can achieve from 0 to 100%. That is, sometimes I may not achieve abstraction. Sometimes I may achieve 10% of abstraction. Sometimes I may achieve 50% of abstraction. Sometimes I may achieve 100% of abstraction based on the program how we written, right? But in case of interfaces, we can achieve always 100% of abstraction, right? Now, let us see how abstraction can be achieved. Now, abstract classes. We have to use abstract class for achieving abstraction. Now, what is abstract class? If a class is declared by using a keyword abstract, we can say that the class is abstract class. An abstract class may have abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Abstract class may have abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Right. Now, if a class has at least one abstract method, then that class must be declared with the abstract keyword. If any class is having at least one abstract method, then the class must be declared with the abstract keyword. Right. To use an abstract class, we have to inherit it from another class, and we need to provide the implementation details there. Right. Now, here you can see examples for that. Right. Now, here, what is an abstract method? So, a method which is declared as an abstract and doesn't have implementation details. That is to be called as abstract method. Here you can see we have to declare a method with the keyword abstract, then it becomes an abstract method. Here I have written abstract void print status. Print status is the method name and its return type is void. And here I declared it with abstract keyword. So here it is to be terminated with semicolon. Actually, how I written a method, suppose if I want to write normally a method, how I can written? Suppose void print status. So I have to write the body of the method here. Here it will not be terminated with semicolon, right? But abstract method should be terminated with semicolon here. No method body. This method body will not be available for abstract method, right? Next, here you can see an example for that. Now here I have written an abstract class by, which contains an abstract method run. Here I have another class, Honda4. This extends the class bike. Now, the run method implementation is given here. Whatever the run method contains this abstract class, its implementation details are provided here. Running safely. Now, here I created an object for bike class. I access the run method. Then it prints this statement. Right. So, this is to be called as abstract class. Now here you can see one more example. Animal I have. Here I have an abstract method, sound, dog, that extends animal. Here sound method is implemented. Here I have written another class cat that extends animal. Now here again sound class is implemented. So here we provided specific implementations for sound class. Dog sound is different, cat sound is different, right? Here, specifically, dog sound is bow bow. Specifically, the cat sound is meow meow, right? So, here it is having its own specific implementation. Here it is having its own specific implementation. Both the methods can be accessed here, right? So, this is the representation of abstract classes. Next, final keyword. The final keyword is used to restrict the user, right? It can be used with the variable, it can be used with the method, it can be used with the class. If I use a final keyword with the variable, its value cannot be changed. It becomes a constant, right? So if I used the final keyword with a method, that method cannot be overridden. So here you can see, I have written the speed limit variable as final. Now here it is assigned a value 90, but here I try to change its value. It shows an error. If I try to change that value, it shows an error, right? This is final variable. If I used final with the method, what happens? Now here you can see final void run. Here I have written its implementation. Here I am writing void run again. That is, here I am doing overriding. This is a parent class, this is child class, same method I am writing here. Now, if I execute this one, it shows an error. It cannot be override, right? Now, if I use final with class, it cannot be extended. Now, if I write this class as final, if I try to extend that class, it gives an error. This class cannot be extended, right? So this is about final keyword, right? Now here you can see, this is my Java program, which gives your lab program, right? Now here, this shows abstract class shape with different shapes are there. Now here with those different shapes, I want to find the areas of those shapes, right? So here I written this program by using abstract classes. Right, now I want to show the execution of that particular program, that Java program, that is lab program. So here in the online compiler, right? Now I want to show you that execution. So here, if you run this program, you can see how it calculated the areas of different shapes. So here I have written area method in the class shape. This is an abstract method. Here I have written square class, which extends from shape, and here calculate area method is overridden. Here rectangle, another class, which is extended from shape, and here calculate area method is overridden. Here also calculate area method, triangle class also calculate area method overridden, right? Now here I created objects for all the three and I called the methods. Then the three areas, square area, rectangle area, and triangle area, all the three areas were printed, right? So I hope that you understand how all these programs are executing.
Yes.
Right? Right. So if you have any doubts, let me know. I'll clear those doubts. Otherwise, we will wind up the session. Now, what the different things that we explained here in this class? In this class, we talked about inheritance and its types. And also we talked about super keyword.
Final keyword.
Yeah, we talked about final keyword. We talked about method overriding. And we talked about abstract classes. We talked about abstract classes. All these concepts that we discussed in this session, right?
What will be the main questions, ma'am, in examination point of view? This chapter.
Now, if they want to ask theory questions, they can ask that what is an abstract class?
Okay.
Right. How to achieve abstraction in Java?
Okay.
Like that, they may ask the theory questions, right?
Okay.
If they want to go for programming,
This sort of areas.
They can ask like this: write a Java program to implement a superclass shape and its subclasses, square, rectangle, triangle, calculate the area of each shape. For this, you need to write just simply this program. Like that, they may ask.
Okay.
Right?
It is
Correct?
much easier chapter than strings previous class.
Yeah. Previous class means strings is entirely based on classes. That there we need to know about different classes: buffered class, string buffer class, string tokenizer class, string builder class, string
Yes.
class. Like the different classes are there, different constructors are there for strings, different methods are there, predefined methods are there for strings.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever we explained here is a very little one regarding the strings. There is a lot to learn. If you go for internet, there is a much about the strings in Java to learn.
If you have to write, means like to become professional in Java, then we need to read more than what we are learning in the class.
Yeah. You need
This
to
is only
do,
basics.
yeah, you need to do more practicing and you need to do more learning. These are all the basic concepts what you need that we are telling here. According to your syllabus, what the basic concepts that you need to learn that we are telling here. You need to learn more if you want to become a professional of Java.
First
Right?
6 chapters we got that CA1, ma'am. I want your feedback on how what I understood from that CA1.
I
So
didn't
next
seen.
week, if you can.
I didn't seen your papers till now.
Mhm.
So within 2-3 days, I can correct those
Sure.
papers and I will give you that feedback.
Sure, ma'am. Thank
Right?
you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Good. Can we stop the class?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.